Song 23. The Enlightenment of Rechungpa. Obeisance to all gurus. Having circled DC Snow Mountain, Milarepa and his disciples returned to the grey cave of Dorje Son of Gutang. The former patrons all came to visit the Jetson and asked him about his welfare and health. He told them that he felt extremely well and in turn inquired after their health. They replied, "It is by good fortune that under your protection and blessing we, too, are all very well and have not suffered from sickness or loss of life. Our livestock also thrives. We on our side are very glad to learn that you have successfully made the pilgrimage to DC without having met any difficulties on your way. Please be kind enough to sing us a song of your well-being." Milarepa answered, "I am as happy as this. Listen." And he sang of the 12 happinesses of yoga. Like avoiding the pitfalls of evil, happy is it to practice the yoga of renouncing one's own land. Like a good horse freeing itself from the bridle, happy is it to practice the yoga free from subject and object. Like wild beasts creeping on low ground, happy is it to practice yoga in solitude. Like the eagle flying freely in the heavens, happy is it to practice the yoga of conviction. Like vultures gliding freely through the sky, happy is it to practice yoga without hindrances. Like a shepherd restfully watching his sleep, happy it is in yoga practice to experience the illuminating void. Like the huge Mount Sumeru standing firm on the ground at the world's center, happy it is to practice the steadfast yoga without disturbance. Like the wide rivers flowing freely, happy is the continual sensation of the yoga experience. Like a corpse lying quiet in the cemetery, doing nothing and having no worries, happy is the yoga of non-action. Like a stone thrown in the ocean that never returns, happy is the yoga of no returning. Like the sun shining in the sky, all other lights overshadowing, happy it is to practice the yoga brighter than all lights. Like leaves falling from the dali tree that can never grow again, happy it is to practice the yoga of no birth. This is the song of the 12 happinesses of yoga. I now present it to you, my patrons, as a gift of Dharma. After listening to this song, the patrons all returned home with deep faith in their hearts. To test the accomplishment and experience of Rechungpa, and also to find out how strong was his spirit of renunciation, one day Milarepa casually sang for him the song of the 12 deceptions. Worldly affairs are all deceptive, so I seek the truth divine. Excitements and distractions are illusions, so I meditate on the non-dual truth. Companions and servants are deceptive, so I remain in solitude. Money and possessions are also deceptive, so if I have them, I give them away. Things in the outer world are all illusion, the inner mind is that which I observe. Wandering thoughts are all deceptive, so I only tread the path of wisdom. Deceptive are the teachings of expedient truth, the final truth is that on which I meditate. Books written in black ink are all misleading, I only meditate on the pith instructions of the whispered lineage. Words and sayings too are but illusion, at ease I rest my mind in the effortless state. Birth and death are both illusions, I observe but the truth of no arising. The common mind is in every way misleading, and so I practice how to animate awareness. The mind holding practice is misleading and deceptive, and so I rest in the realm of reality. Rechungpa thought to himself, my guru is Buddha himself. There is no illusory idea in his mind, but because of my incapacity for devotion, as well as that of others, he has sung me this song, and Rechungpa sang in answer to explain to his guru his understanding on the teachings of view, practice, and action. Hearken to me, please, my father guru. My darkened mind is full of ignorance. Hold me fast with the rope of your compassion. At the crossroad where realism and nihilism meet, I have lost my way in seeking the view of non-extremes. As so no assurance have I in the knowledge of the truth. Drowsy and distracted all the while, bliss and illumination are not yet my lot, and so I have not conquered all attachment. I cannot free myself from taking and abandoning, and needlessly I continue my impulsive acts, so I have not yet destroyed all delusions. I was unable to shun all deeds of fraud, and observe the tantric precepts without flaw, so I have yet to conquer all temptations. The illusory distinction between samsara and nirvana I have not realized as a self-mind Buddha, so I have yet to find my way to Dharmakaya. I was not able to equate hope with fear, and my own face behold. so I have yet to win the 4 bodies of Buddha. I have been protected by your compassion in the past. Now, putting my whole being in your hands, pray to grant me more of your blessings. Thereupon Milarepa sent his compassionate grace wave to bless Rechungpa and said to him pretendingly, "Oh, Rechungpa, you have had more understanding and experience than those you have just told me. You should not hide anything from me. Be frank and candid." As Milarepa said this, Rechungpa suddenly became enlightened. At once he sang the 7 discoveries. Through the grace of my father Guru, the holy Jetson, I have now realized the truth in 7 discoveries. In manifestations have I found the void. Now I have no thought that anything exists. In the voidness have I found the Dharmakaya. Now I have no thought of action. In myriad manifestations the non-dual have I found. Now I have no thought of gathering or dispersing. In the elements of red and white, now I have found the essence of equality. Now I have no thought of accepting or rejecting. In the body of illusion I have found great bliss. Now in my mind there is no suffering. I have found the transcendental in the world. Now delusion has no hold upon my mind. In the self-mind I have found the Buddha. Now in my mind samsara no more exists. Milarepa then said to Rechungpa, "Your experience and understanding is close to real enlightenment, but it is still not quite the same. Real experience and true understanding should be like this." And he sang the 8 supreme realms. He who sees the world and voidness as the same has reached the realm of the true view. He who feels no difference between dream and waking has reached the realm of true practice. He who feels no difference between bliss and voidness has reached the realm of true action. He who feels no difference between now and then has reached the realm of reality. He who sees that mind and voidness are the same has reached the realm of Dharmakaya. He who feels no difference between pain and pleasure has reached the realm of the true teaching. He who sees human wishes and Buddha's wisdom as the same has reached the realm of supreme enlightenment. He who sees that self-mind and Buddha are alike has reached the realm of true accomplishment. Thereafter, through the mercy and blessing of his Guru, Rechungpa gradually improved in understanding and realization. He then composed the Song of the 6 Bardos, in which he presented to Milarepa his insight and final understanding. I bow before the Holy Gurus. In the bardo where the great void manifests, there is no realistic or nihilistic views. I do not share the thoughts of human sectaries. Beyond all apprehension is non-existence now. Of the view, this is my firm conviction. In the bardo of voidness and bliss, there is no object in which the mind can meditate, and so I have no need to practice concentration. I rest my mind without distraction in the natural state. This is my understanding of the practice. I no longer feel ashamed before enlightened friends. In the bardo with lust and without lust, I see no samsaric bliss, and so no more a hypocrite, I meet no bad companions. Whatever I see before me, I take as my companion. This is my conviction of the action. No longer feel I shame before a gathering of great yogis. Between vice and virtue I no more discriminate. The pure and impure are now to me the same. Thus never shall I be untruthful or pretentious. Now have I wholly mastered the self-mind. This is my understanding of morality. No longer feel I shame before the saints' assembly. In the new-found realm of samsara and nirvana, sentient beings and the Buddha are to me the same, and so I neither hope nor yearn for Buddhahood. At this moment all my sufferings have become a pleasure. This is my understanding of enlightenment. No longer feel I shame before enlightened beings. Having freed myself from words and meanings, I speak no more the language of all scholars. I have no more doubts in my mind. The universe and all its form now appear but as the Dharmakaya. This is the conviction I have realized. I no longer feel I shame before a gathering of great scholars. Milarepa was highly delighted and said, "Rechungpa, this is indeed the real experience and knowledge. You can truly be called a well-gifted disciple. Now there are 3 ways in which one can please one's Guru. First, the disciple should employ his faith and intelligence to gratify his Guru. Then, through unmistakable learning and contemplation, he should enter the gate of Mahayana and Vajrayana and practice them diligently with great determination. Then finally he can please his Guru with his real experiences of enlightenment, which are produced step by step through his devotion. I do not like the disciple who talks much. The actual practice is far more important. Until the full realization of truth is gained, he should shut his mouth and work at his meditation. My guru, Marpa, said to me, "It does not matter much whether one knows a great deal about sutras and tantras. One should not merely follow the words and books, but one should shut his mouth, unmistakably follow his guru's verbal instructions, and meditate. Therefore you should also follow this admonishment, forgetting it not and putting it into practice. If you can leave all samsaric affairs behind you, the great merits and accomplishments will all become yours." Rechungpa replied, "Dear Jetson, please be kind enough to tell what Marpa said." Milarepa then sang the 30 admonishments to my guru. "Dear son, these are the words he said to me. Of all refuges, the Buddha's is the best. Of all friends, faith is most important. Of all evils, Namdog is the worst. Of all devils, pride. Of all vices, slander." He said, "He who does not purify his sins with the 4 powers is bound to wander in samsara. He who with diligence stores not merit will never gain the bliss of liberation. He who refrains not from committing the 10 evils is bound to suffer pains along the path. He who does not meditate on voidness and compassion will never reach the state of Buddhahood." He said, "If in this life you want Buddhahood, observe your mind without diversion and practice the 6 yogas. The essence and final teaching of all tantras, practice too the skillful path of tantra, the essence, the final teaching of the pith instruction. If you look for fame, goods, and recognition, you throw yourself into the mouth of devils. If others you revile and praise yourself, you will fall into the abyss. If you tame not your elephantine mind, the teachings and pith instruction will be useless. The greatest merit is to raise the heart for Bodhi. To understand the non-arising is the highest view. Profound meditation is the teaching of the skillful path. The nadi and breathing exercises should be practiced too." He said, "Behold and recognize the face of the innate born. Put yourself in the hands of holy beings. Do not dissipate your life by doing worthless things." He said, "Behold and watch your unborn mind. Look not for pleasures in samsara. Think not that all sufferings are ill." He also said, "When you realize your mind, you become a Buddha. It is unnecessary to talk and do a lot. There is no more teaching more profound than this. Follow and practice then all these instructions." After hearing this song, Rechungpa improved greatly in realization and understanding. Later, when Milarepa and his disciples were living ascetically during their retreat, many dakinis came and offered them a sacramental feast. They addressed Milarepa thus: "It is good for you during your devotions to accept food and clothing from human beings, and also to receive a little heavenly nourishment from the dakinis. We will always bring provisions for you." Milarepa replied, "The possessions, facilities, and food of the common people can never match the merits of enlightenment and the power of realization. Therefore worldly needs are dispensable. Now hearken to my song. I bow down to all gurus." From the realm of absolute reality, I, the Yogi Milarepa, sing this song. From the realm of universal non-existence, I, Milarepa, chant this hymn. Please listen, mothers and dakinis. The law of cause and effect is ever supreme. The convincing Buddhist doctrine, how can common faiths ever match it? Supreme it is to live and meditate alone. How can trance compare with this? Samadhi is supreme, free from this and that. How can common knowledge ever attain it? Essence is supreme in the state of after meditation. How can common practices ever equal it? Mindfulness beyond all worlds also is supreme. How can common actions ever attain it? The unison of love and voidness is supreme. How can common accomplishment ever reach it? Supreme too is my cotton robe that's never cold. How can the gaudy clothes of common people match it? Supreme is my samadhi that's never hungry. How can meat and wine compare with it? This drink of mine comes from the stream of Bodhi. How can common drinks compare with it? Within my heart is brimming with contentment. How can food and wealth overshadow it? My guru, the translator Marpa, is supreme. How can other yogis equal him? Seeing the Buddha face of the self-mind is supreme. How can the common patron Buddha meditation match it? I, the Yogi Milarepa, am supreme. How can other yogis match me? My body is immune from pain and illness. How can drugs or doctors so ensure it? Please listen and give judgment, O dakinis. Where there is no light, I see but brightness. The light itself is very radiant too. Where there is no warmth, I feel well heated. The single cotton robe has warmth in plenty. Wherever discomfort is, I rest in ease. This body of illusion is most comfortable. Where there is no joy, I feel most joyful. This life of dreams is itself delightful. I, the yogi, feel but happiness and joy. Is it not the Draja Dorje mountain high enough? If not, why would vultures float above it? If the cold December wind is not severe enough, how can it freeze the waterfalls and rivers? If my cotton clothing is not warmed by inner heat, how can a single robe shut out the coldness? If samadhi food does not sustain me, how can I ever endure insatiate hunger? If there is no stream of bodhi for my drinking, how can I live without water and not thirst? If my guru's pith instructions are not profound enough, how can I conquer hindrances and devils? If a yogi has no realization and experience to make him confident and full of joy, how can he ever meditate in solitude? These accomplishments are gained through the grace of my guru. Thus should one concentrate on meditation practice. Having heard this song, the Dakinis exclaimed, "What you have said is indeed wonderful. Tomorrow a well-destined disciple will come here. Please take care of him." With these words they all disappeared like the rainbow. The next day a few patrons came on a visit from Kutang. They asked Milarepa to preach the Dharma for them. Thereupon the Jetson imparted to them the prayer of taking refuge, together with explanations of the benefits of practicing the Dharma. The patrons asked, "Do you also practice this prayer of taking refuge?" Milarepa replied, "Yes, this prayer is my sole shelter, and I depend upon it alone in my devotion and practice. You should also pray earnestly to your Guru and the three precious ones, not merely by words, but by sincerely taking them as your true refuge. The benefit of this is very great, as I have told you before. All of you should therefore be very happy and satisfied with this prayer." Milarepa then sang a song in which he described the different frames of reference in which the refuges are set and urged them to practice the Dharma. Obeisance to all gurus. The Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha are the three outer refuges. Even I take them as my shelter. By putting all my trust in them, I have gained joy and satisfaction. Fortune will come if in them you take your refuge. The Guru, the Patron Buddha, and the Dakinis are the three inner refuges. Even I take them as my shelter. By putting all my trust in them, I have gained joy and satisfaction. Fortune will come if in them you take your refuge. The Nadis, Prana, and Bindu are the three secret refuges. Even I take them as my shelter. By putting all my trust in them, I have gained joy and satisfaction. Fortune will come if in them you take your refuge. Form, voidness, and non-distinction are the three real refuges. By putting all my trust in them, I have gained joy and satisfaction. Fortune will come if in them you take your refuge. If you look not to the refuges, who will protect you from eternal suffering? Day and night the rotting house of your body is invaded by the four elements. Through months and years, rain brings it to dissolution. To the dying, these eroding drops bring neither joy nor pleasure. It is like the shadow of the setting sun. You may try to fly away from it, but never can you escape. Observation of death is a Buddhist's teacher, from whom one learns to practice worthy deeds. One should always think and remember that joy is absent in the time of dying. If a sinner sees the nature of death, he learns a good lesson of truth. He will then ponder on the thought, how regretful I will be when the moment comes. If a man of wealth sees death around him, he has learned a good lesson of truth, that goods and money are his great foes. Let him then ponder on the thought, I should try always to be generous. If an old man feels that death is near him, he has learned a good lesson of truth, that life is short and transient. Let him then ponder on the thought, life is after all a sad dream. If a man sees death around him, he has learned a good lesson of truth, that life is short and fades soon to oblivion. Let him then practice his devotions. Our parents bear the burdens of our worries, but orphans must endure them by themselves. A smooth, fine leather coat is indeed a comfort, but beyond imagination for him who never wore one. Crops on the farm are the cure for poverty, but those who do not work can never enjoy them. He who practices the Dharma will be joyful, but those who practice it not can never share it. Give more away in gifts, and you will never be hungry. If you want to conquer drowsiness and sleep, practice more good deeds. Remembering the miseries of the lower realms helps one and all to practice Buddhism. After hearing this song, many patrons became devoted Buddhists. Among the group there was one young man who had confirmed within him an immutable faith towards Milarepa. He asked permission to follow him in order to give him service. Milarepa thought, "This is the man whom the Dakinis predicted. I should take him as my disciple," and he imparted the initiation instructions to him. After practicing these teachings, the young man attained accomplishment and liberation. He was known as Rechungpa, one of the close sons of Milarepa. This is the story of Milarepa meeting Rechungpa on his later trip to Dorje Son.